It's the Cold Beer Surf Club.
Classic. Dude, he loves you. I've only seen him do that like with maybe like one other person ever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good thing, Finley. It's a good read.
Yeah, good read.
You got a
Good
good
vibe.
read? Finley's got a good
I
read.
could have guessed that. Heck yeah, Pete. Well, thanks so much for rolling through town. Santa Barbara.
Thanks for having me.
Open this
It's
thing.
an easy run, right? Just
Yeah,
jump
dude.
off the highway and say hi to my friends.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try one of these zeros.
Zeros. Yeah.
I don't drink a lot of NA beers, but I don't drink beer or alcohol at all.
I know.
Cheers.
Good for you. Cheers.
And
Partake every once in a while still.
so 805. Thanks for the support.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming. The fun thing about this is that I selfishly get to invite people that I look up to and want to talk story with. And then I get to just pick their brain for an hour and a half and get all the information that I want to hear from them that I don't get to hear elsewhere.
Yeah, I was able to do a little homework and listen to some of my friends that are on there, Strider and Aton.
Yeah,
And it seems pretty easy. We can just chill and talk about a bunch of cool stuff.
pretty casual. I know the problem is with,
I actually want to ask you a couple questions. So
that's fine. The problem is with people like you, I'm like, God, Pete, there's like, where do we start? There's just like this epic life of just going in so many different directions and so many different, I don't know, like different chapters, I feel like, of your life that I'm so interested to hear more about.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
start?
Let's do a little now.
Yeah,
Right,
now.
Let's do now.
Okay, start now.
So, yeah, I'm rolling from up the coast, and we went to the Big Wave Challenge Awards show last night. And it hadn't been in California for many years. I think in Portugal before the last couple of years has been over there. The WSL owned it for a couple of years and didn't really do a whole lot of parties per se for that. Especially we had COVID. There was like all sorts of stuff. I mean, it was pretty wild times for the big wave stuff. And then obviously couldn't sell it. So then events went away. So this is it. Like the Big Wave Challenge is something that we have, and it was well supported last night, and it was so much fun.
Nice. That's epic.
Yeah, it was like a surf movie. It was held at the Lido Theater right there in Newport. So it's like it's an OC. It's in it's in Bill Sharp's like backyard, and he was on fire, and and it was a great vibe. And some big news last night. We had a couple guys from Santa Cruz get big waves. Aloe, Sliber, he in that big day at Mavericks last year. The 100-foot wave, which it was a massive wave. It ended up being, I think, 76 feet or something they measured it as.
Jeez.
And I don't know who measured it, but whoever did said it was 76 feet.
What is the biggest, like on measured, what's the biggest, tallest wave anyone's ridden?
Maybe you have to ask ChatGPT, but I think it's 85, 86 feet.
So
I don't.
it was right there.
Oh yeah, no, 10 feet shy of it, I guess. But like, I will say that swell, that Eddie swell that we had last year, was the 23rd, and then the Eddie was on the 22nd. So you surf the Eddie and then fly home, do a red eye, and then in that swell, when it hit the West Coast, I mean, and I don't know where you were for that swell, but it was high energy, like with some of the most high level big wave energy that I've like. You surfed, actually, I know where you surfed. You surfed here, and it was.
Oh, I was in Florida.
Oh, you kidding?
For Christmas.
Oh my God, 23rd, you're gone.
I was gone.
Oh, dude, I thought you were surfing like gigantic. I remember you were surfing gigantic Rincon.
That was 2 years ago. It was not last winter, but the winter before.
Yeah. See, the years go by so quick.
I was just staring at the Surfline cameras going, oh my God, what am I missing? I can't
and it made spots that you'd never think would be a barrel or whatever, just the energy that it carried, 25 second and above, like it was, 25 to 30 seconds, I think was kind of where the average of that swell was.
So crazy.
During the peak. And it was, like I said, at Mavericks, I was seeing waves break in places I'd never seen waves break. So it was intense. And anyway, that happened that night. Aloe got the biggest wave. Then Willem was at Jaws for that swell, same swell. And he won the biggest paddle. So it was a big night for
that
Santa
was that
Cruz.
session. There was only like him and Albie.
There was a crew.
Couple guys, but not many guys, right? Because the Eddie was on that day, right?
Yeah. None of the big dogs were at the Eddie.
And were you were at the Eddie?
I was at the Eddie. Yeah. Still invited.
So
amazing.
Sick. Dude, like how many years have you been surfing the Eddie for now?
It's been 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's so cool.
I say it. I'm like, what? That's weird.
But that's what's so cool about that event. It seems like is just it's not just like, oh yeah, cool. Like who's the next like group of young, it's like, dude, there's everyone from the legends, like the legends don't lose their spot. You know, it's like you and Mike and Ross Clark. Like, I mean, I feel like you guys will get to surf the Eddie until you either can't or until you kick the can. It's like they're going to invite you every year.
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, it's, Clyde passed away this year, so he was a big influence on all of that. Okay. He guided the event. Rip Curl picked it up now. So, I mean, we'll see how they handle it. They've handled it really well when they, the first year. Now we got Liam's kind of running the helm, and he's got kind of a panel together that, again, it's like a couple legit, surfers and people that are influencers in that world. Right. And they're going to choose the path forward. And that's what I think that event tries to honor everything, which is hard to do, but they've expanded the field, right? It's gone to 36, I think, something like that. So there's a lot of people involved in it, women included as well. So that's the way you can do it. You put more people in the water, and again, it's a celebration of big wave surfing. And the format kind of gives you that. So you can kind of do that. And they bring everything from the young Hawaiian to the old Hawaiians to, international flavors, anyone who feels like they've earned it. And so that's why it's so highly valued to be a part of, because that's how it's been run.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, you have the best big wave surfers from all over the world.
I like your dog, Finley.
Yeah, Finley stoked. This is his first podcast.
Cool.
He loves you. And so you flew from the Eddie that night, Redeye flight, back over straight to Mavs for that next day.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so gnarly. I trip out like when you guys do shit like that, because I fly those red eyes all the time and I'm just sideways for like a day. My eyes are like bleeding and I'm like, okay, I got to sit on the couch. And I recently, I was in Fiji for that big swell like 2 Marches ago.
Yep.
That was about how long it was.
Yeah.
And JoJo flew left there. And then there was like a late season Mav swell and got that crazy wave that day. And I was like, dude, I was so buckled for like a week after that. Granted, celebrating the swell didn't help, but like I had to sit on the couch for 3 days. I couldn't move. Yeah. No, and he was out of Mavs.
And that's the adrenaline too, right? The adrenaline dump is incredible actually.
Yes.
When you ride it out for, like when you go 3 days, the adrenaline will get you there. You'll finish it, but literally you'll go into a deep depression afterwards.
Dude, it's pretty crazy. Like I felt that surfing events before, where you're like, like a week of just going. And then you're like, okay, I did pretty good. I got second. And then you're just like, done. Yeah. And it's a weird letdown, huh?
Peaks and valleys, right? It happens in very current times, and then it also happens throughout a career. Peaks and valleys in a lifetime, right? Yeah,
it's funny that you would think like, oh my God, why, like how can you go from feeling like that, having so much fun, to like this weird low afterwards? People are probably like, what? Like you just did what you love to do, but it's like it's got some chemical thing happens where you're just like, oh my gosh.
I know, it's a big time. It's a biological thing.
Yeah,
straight up.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So you went, and you were there when Aloe got that wave? Were you and John surfing that day?
Yeah, I was there with the team, which is now grown to 4. So it's myself, John, my other son, Anthony. He's kind of stepped in and he was always like kind of a photographer and our equipment manager. And now he's graduated to a board on the racks now, and he's riding waves. Yeah. So I'm like, wait, dude, what happened? And it's like, and it's funny. And he's had a very ups and downs in his life too. Right. And to see where he's at right now, and that's Anthony. He has helped me in a huge way, because he's running our store at Freeline Surf Shop for, the day-to-day stuff. He's there, he kills it, and he allows me to surf a lot. And I run the company, but I'm not on the floor as much as he is, and it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Anyway, he's part of the team. John and then Ryan Augustine. Okay. And Augustine he's amazing. He's been there since the very beginning with me. He's 42, I think 41 or 42, but he's a Grom, and he was on our team at Freeline for years, and now he's still at our team, which is awesome. So he was there last night as well at the party. And him and his girlfriend or fiance and wife. I'm so bad, Jill. Sorry. But yeah, that was, that's the team, and it's amazing to have. And we go out there, and that day we got some really gnarly waves, crazy waves. Was
in all the years that you've been surfing and towing Mavs, was that up there with like the gnarliest day?
top, there's maybe 3 days like that, 4 days that I recall as just being massive, and they're all different. This swell probably not as tall, because it was just so much energy that it was wider, like the actual like wave. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but last night, we were up for an award. It was like it was a photographer award, which was Fred Pumpermeyer won it. And it was a shot of me that day. And it's like the wave's wider than it is high. It's crazy. It's a crazy barrel shot. And, that was why that swell was so special. And then others days when we were in 99, when Skinny and I towed it, and that was like 10 days after John was born, my son, John.
Oh, way.
And, that was one of those legendary days, on top of the fact that it really hadn't been surfed that big before. So those days kind of like, oh, it's like the biggest ever. And it was for us at that time. And now, and then there was another day that was like where a boat went down, and it was a really weird swell, but it was massive. It was short lived. It was just like, something that was a little more closer to the coastline. Whereas the one that we surfed that was really special was, happened so far out to sea that the energy was just so strong. So
cool.
Yeah. So there's different days, like, right. And every spot has their personalities throughout it. And, oh man, but that, like I said, top three for sure.
Top three. Wow, that's pretty special. And in 99, that day when it was you and Skinny, how many of you guys were out at that point towing out there?
There was a bit of a crew. I mean, we started towing, like the strap crew was in the, 94, 95, right? They were kind of in their heyday. We finally picked it up in 97, and then like that was 99. So we were kind of 1 year, 2 years in of kind of trying to master the spot.
Yeah.
And that day was like changed. But I had a 7.0. No, sorry, it was a 7.6 JC, John Carper, magic sled. The thing just glided. It was super narrow, but long, like that's what we used to ride for tow boards. That's what the strap guys, taught us. Now we're on 6.0s. And like, back then it was 7.6 still, but oh man, it was a good feeling. And that board was so good.
Damn. So when you say the strap crew, who was that?
That was Laird, Derek Dorner,
okay.
Mike Waltz, Dave Kalama. They were leading the pack in those early 90s, right? They were out there at Jaws doing their thing. I was actually on Oahu on the north, doing my North Shore stints when Derek Dorner and Laird and Buzzy did it out at Sunset Beach with the Zodiac. And I want to say that was 91, 92, something. I don't know. I can't remember. Laird, when was that? ChatGPT? We got ChatGPT. Yeah. Anyway, and to see that, I saw it, the light bulb, it took another 5, 10, almost 10 years to figure it out and actually start doing it in 97 with Skinny. But we picked up a ski, and yeah, those were good days.
And so those guys came over from Hawaii and sort of like pioneered tow surfing at Mavs?
It was more that we just saw it.
Okay.
And we pioneered it.
You pioneered it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we were the ones who, we pioneered it. I mean, but the reality was, we kind of were doing it and started it. And Jeff Clark was there. We all had skis kind of starting. And there was days that we knew we could ride that we couldn't paddle into, or at least, and then it went for a couple of years there. It was full on. Towing everything. And then it kind of got a little conflict actually between the surfers and the towing, it's kind of like it happened during that era. Right. Mm-hmm. There was, the surf rider got involved, and like we had to have changes in laws and all that stuff kind of happened throughout those years. And then and now it's like, basically it was banned.
Yeah. It was pretty much banned, right?
Right. Yeah. The sanctuary.
NPA?
Yeah. And it's they changed the definition of it. I was that was a part of my life that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
I was on the, they have a name for it, but I was on the committee basically that helped decide the new changes in the policies for that whole thing for the sanctuary. So I was like an advisory committee. My first kind of time into the community politics of the world, which I've done throughout my life. Yeah, and it's a learning process. And I wanted to you go in there with good intentions to try and help the cause, and like I wanted to be able to tow surf still, right? And they were just going to completely ban it. Basically, it was what that kind of felt like. So we got on this whole thing and trying to find a happy medium. It was an actual consensus, as they call it. We had to come to consensus, and basically it got banned for all the training areas that we wanted to ask for didn't happen. So the only place you can train now is at Mavericks on 3 months of the year.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that's what the rules are.
Wow.
So, 3 months of the year, it's like you can go out to Mavericks on high surf advisory days. That's the rules.
Wow.
And yeah, it's still good. I mean, that's still
better
something.
than a 0.
Yeah, it is.
And so what 3 months is that? Like November, December, January, or
I think, yeah.
So what happens when there's a swell in March or April?
I don't know. No, we go out.
And they're kind of just like,
I mean, it's that one's funny. So the federal agencies are the ones who patrol that.
Yeah.
Right. So Harbor Patrol doesn't.
Coast Guard. It's Coast Guard.
No, not Coast Guard either.
Oh, Coast Guard state.
They are federal. They can do it.
Okay.
They don't though. They're out there for saving people. They're not out there writing tickets necessarily. Yeah. Right. That's not their thing. They will, if you're not up to your, which we'll talk about your boat too. I want to talk about that. But like having, your boat safe and being right, that's important, right?
Yes.
So it's a safety kind of element that the Coast Guard comes with. They're guarding the coast and helping people. So they don't want to go out there and patrol that. And they said that during our, when we were part of that, they just said, hey, we're not going to patrol it. Like, you can do what you want with it. But so there's only a few officers that actually control that area. Mm-hmm. And so it's, you have to have, you have to blow it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, and the flip side of that, which I'm sure was your guys' argument, is like if you have 100 guys out paddle surfing Mavericks and there's no jet ski out there, people are gonna die.
Yeah,
and if you have a jet ski, yes,
and
people have,
right. So it's
so safer to have some out there.
There's a blind eye to it. Just nobody should complain. So then there's so we're left to actually police it ourselves. Right. And so there's some important things about policing it out there too, is that you don't necessarily want to have skis on top of surfers. It's not a great look.
Totally.
They do it at Chopo.
Kind of Jaws. Seems like it's a little like,
right. And you're going to have issues with that when you're trying to, who's got priority with it. I've always kind of said paddlers do. I mean, that's basically the law is that, if they're considered swimmers, I guess. Right. So you have to stay a certain or go a certain speed around them.
Yeah.
So paddlers generally, in my opinion, have priority. So like when that kind of happens at Mavericks for me, I stop. Mm-hmm. Our team stops. And we kind of like back off. And it depends on the situation though, or communication that's happening. Yeah. But it's a bad look, right?
Yeah,
you're and it's not safe.
Totally.
Right. That's the biggest thing. You're putting a machine around these guys with a 100-foot rope, or not 100-foot rope, but a 20-foot rope, and fins and straps and. Get a couple skis too, and you're trying to pay attention. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So I try to stop for that. It's hard to sometimes.
Yeah. What for
depends
you?
On the human that paddles out.
Totally. And how many people too? If it's a couple guys and you guys are cool and it's like, okay, there's an agreement. But
example was there was like Chase LaRue, who's he's kind of not new, but he's a guy who's been charging out there lately at Mavericks, and he wants it. And he paddled out that day. When we were towing
that huge day.
Yeah. And got a wave,
really?
And like he was the only guy, and like, there's, and I will say that the Groms, like, like Alo and Luca, right. They're out there, they're the alphas. And it's funny watching, they're just Energizer Bunny kind of style, they just go. And they kind of go, they like aren't going to necessarily stop when people paddle out. But it was in those realms where like, is it even possible to catch? Because it was 25, 30 seconds. Like paddling was really difficult.
And it was sort of breaking like outside the boil.
Oh, it was
and
all over,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I won't say all over, because that's why Mavericks is so special, is that it does come back to itself pretty much all the time. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible piece of reef. But it does, you can get caught and you don't want to get caught. So especially if you're paddling, you're going to err on the side of being outside and into the channel, and still almost get caught. So, but he got one, and cheers to him, because it was like he shoulder hopped one and it was still just like aired out kind of, because it was just
south
so
wind too,
right?
Oh,
that was that added to it for sure. And that doesn't even show up in the videos or the stills, is that wind that you're seeing.
Yeah. If you live in California, you know what that wind is though. And you know that paddling into a wave with that wind is way harder. Especially at 20. Even riding it on a tow board is way harder.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny story about that one was that I was coming Redeye. So I had to have the kids and the team get it without me there, patrolling them, getting the skis together and getting all the stuff together, and loading the van and showing up, and I was they weren't going to pick me up. They were going to be there because they were going to be there. I was a little later. So I ended up, what did I do? Oh, I think I had my car. That's what it was. I left my car at the airport. So I had my car there and I just drove straight there. Had my guns with me because I was coming from the Eddie. And I was going to say, like, I'm a pretty allegiant to United. So I make sure that I try and get an upgrade every time. And especially on those Redeyes.
Yeah.
Get at least I think I had one for the way home on that one, which was key.
Yeah.
That was a key one. Anyway, and they showed up. They were out in the water and I get in and I get this text like, "Hey Dad, we're out here. But we forgot your tow board." I was like, cool.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously knew we were going to be towing. So I ended up going out there with, we had other boards to use. So I ended up riding a different board, but it was a board I'd never ridden.
Yeah.
And on those days, it was nuts. There was a period there for like an hour where it was massive and peaking, basically. Yeah. It was like, and that's when that biggest wave was ridden by Alo. There was barrels by Chumbo. He was there. He ended up breaking his foot that session. It was nuts. It was nuts. And it was celebrated last night.
Yeah, that's rad. And you got the award for the photo.
For the photo, yeah. Fred Pompermeyer did. I mean, they were celebrating. That's the thing. They kind of like, since Bill taken control back of it, as an event, he thought out a lot of things. Sometimes like the alternate craft, he brought up an alternate craft thing, right? So we had Lucas Fink won, that wave. He got a Jaws. You see that wave at Jaws?
Dude, I haven't seen that. I was like, really? Alternate craft. Like, what is that? How do I miss that?
We need to have him like, you need to pull it up.
Pop it up.
Yeah. But like, it was nuts. Like it probably should have been ride of the year.
What did he ride it on?
A skimboard. Literally a skimboard. Lucas Fink.
I did see that.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So he's the one who's on the bottom, like literally just skittering at Jaws. It was so nuts. And like he made it, and like he's done it at Mavericks. Like he's a freak of talent, right? And you've watched him. I don't know if you watch him at all skim, but he's got a wave that they have in Brazil that they do that's like that super wedge, right?
Yeah.
And he nails it, dude. He's gnarly.
Insane.
Yeah, he's gnarly.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Lucas Fink, they had an alternate craft award, which was brilliant. They gave a lot of love to the photographers. Mm-hmm. They had a night, like the night before last, they did a full gathering of all of the legends that were in town. And it was cool. They celebrated Eric Ader, came up there. He was up for an award. Like Eric Ader's been doing it forever, right? In Maui. And he was there, super psyched. And then the youngsters that have been coming up doing their thing, like, all the drone pilots, like he celebrated his HBO show they have, 100 foot wave. Like they've had another Emmy happening, like
crazy.
And that shows, I mean, I don't know if you watch it.
Yeah. I've watched
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
right? They do a good job.
Totally.
And they create the drama and, the Cortez Bank thing. And, so they awarded a lot of the, photographers that helped on that project. Didn't really get to be there for the Emmy thing. And so he presented an Emmy to them.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. Which was, I guess, brilliant. Right. So he's recognizing these people that have been helping promote the sport of big wave, which doesn't get a lot of support. Right. It doesn't. I mean, let's say like the WSL had moved on from it. There's no events really, except for the Eddie, which is a, privately done thing through the Eddie Aikau Foundation and Rick Curl. And then there's a couple events kind of sporadically around the world. Nazare has their one. They do the tow event still, I guess, but they didn't have that last year.
So the big wave tour that WSL was doing a few years ago, that's no longer
gone.
That's gone.
Gone.
And so the Eddie's a standalone.
Yep.
And then same with that tow event in Nazare.
Yep.
That's a standalone thing.
Yeah, that was, and that's WSL kind of, and Nazare likes that event, right? So they're going to take care of it, make it happen.
For sure. And so besides that though, there's no big wave events.
They just had one in Peru that was done by, Gary Linden, has been the founder of Big Wave stuff, right? He's starting Big Wave Alliance, which is something that he's trying to kind of get these littler events to kind of help seed into a bigger event, and, he has an event in Todos. So he's still involved. I mean, you gotta love Gary, dude. He's so involved and still wants it to happen and still believes in it. And that's the hardest part, is getting people to believe in it, and pay for it too, right? So that's the thing.
So crazy, because it's so exciting and the waves are so big and people are pushing it so hard.
It is.
I guess it's just the logistics. I mean, I know a little bit about the logistics of just running like a tour where you're just going for 10 days and trying to get normal waves. Then you throw in like, okay, we need the big day on you can't plan a waiting period, right? So it's all like last minute strike missions and that. So,
and a sponsorship is hard for that.
Yeah. Logistically, it becomes so challenging.
Yeah. And that's where the Big Wave Challenge and that whole thing that happens for everybody around the world is such a great idea. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I think back to when that first thing came to fruition, right? It was the K2 Challenge. You remember that?
Was that the one at Todos?
Well, that's who won it.
Okay.
Right. Because it was basically Bill Sharp. He started it.
Yeah.
He had K2. He was introducing that brand to surfing, right? They were getting into surfing. Uh-huh. And they did the K2 Challenge, and they had a big bounty on it. It was $50,000 for the biggest wave ridden.
Yeah.
And Taylor Knox won it at Todos.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was that year. And that was 2001, I think. Right. It's just 25 years ago that he basically came up with this thing. And here we are 25 years later, and he had a raging party last night, and the money's almost the same, but which is crazy to think about.
It's
right?
so crazy, huh?
Right? The money's the same 25 years later. So
wow.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but
the vibe's still good.
And all it does is prove that we do it for the love, right? This is the reason why. I mean, I surfed Emmawood just now. Like, I was late to this podcast, sorry. But I had to get perfect. Right. But it's like I had to go surf the diaper because I know. Have you ever heard it been called the diaper?
I've never heard it called the diaper. I've heard it been Purple Haze. Sean Hayes calls it the catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
And it's all little.
No, it's got everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's a place you have to have as a surfer, right? Especially if you live in Santa Barbara.
Totally.
Right? You have to have that kind of a spot that you can go to, and pretty much most tides, you're going to be able to go surfing.
Scratch the itch.
Yeah. It's so funny the transitions I go through, but yeah, I surfed this morning
so good.
at the Emmawood, right? And I was late. And where were we before that? I was talking about the K2 Challenge.
Yeah.
And here we are 25 years later, and it's back to kind of that vibe. Like, I remember the first night that all happened, I buzzed my hair, and, I did my first public speaking, time pretty much. Yeah. And a bunch of people in your peer group. And I don't have no idea what I said, but it was pretty funny because I actually got, and Bill gave me, because what happened was that year Mavericks went off, and I had, in that moment, until Taylor caught that wave, I pretty much had some big waves. It was me and Flea at Mavericks that had these biggest waves that were being kind of challenged at that point. And then the wave happened at Todos that Taylor Knox took $50,000. And I was like, it was funny because they had the way that it's judged, right, is like a panel of experts.
Okay.
Which is still the way they do it. The panel has grown exponentially, but yeah, there's like 7 people on it. And, Bruce Jenkins was he was on the panel, and I don't know if you know who Bruce Jenkins is. He's a writer and surfer, longtime surfer, but a really smart dude, honest or whatever, and his opinions and clear with it. But he still voted for Mavericks just because he knew how gnarly it was in relation to Todos. But like, it was about the photo and Taylor. It was rad to be part of that event, but Taylor ended up winning $50,000, and Bill was kind enough to give me like a runner up and gave me a little 5K kick at that point. That was the first time I think I've ever made money off of big wave surfing at that point. And that's when the event has kicked off, and it's gone through different iterations through 25 years, but it's always been around Bill. I think the last few years when the WSL ran it, it was out of his hands, but Bill worked for the WSL for many years too. And we built the Big Wave Tour together. And we've been through a bit of a relationship, and I was probably a little obnoxious last night. So I was kind of heckling Bill a little bit, but that's what it was. It went old school.
Totally. That's good.
It was so fun.
So for you, like being a part of so many different iterations of big wave surfing, is the pinnacle still paddling or? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 100%. A lot came out of towing. You're gaining a exponential knowledge in the way surfboards work and speed. And, so that part is epic. Right. And it transitioned to our big wave boards. Like we went quad a lot, right? That was kind of like, it started at an era, like I was watching Stretch and Nathan Fletcher, but they were doing with his boards. And I was riding boards from them at that time, and quads were kind of a new change. And like all of a sudden it changed paddling for me. Mm-hmm. We were riding in the beginning, we were at single fins. I was like, that was our guns, right? It was single fins back in the 90s.
So gnarly.
Right. and still there's some traditionalists that'll hold on to that, but that's where it started. And then we had these like 3 fins. And then some of the changes we did there was like the little small front fins, a little bigger back fin. That kind of came with Chesser and JC. Like that was a sick design actually. And then I went to traditional kind of 3 fins and then the quads. And now the quads are just faster and they get down the line quicker. And when you're trying to outrun walls of water, it's nice to be going fast. So that came from kind of towing. Right. And, we started riding quads and riding shorter boards. And so that helped push it. Also getting comfortable riding waves that big, I guess, too. You're
spending more time on your board, like drawing lines and stuff.
And then safety, like think about the safety that came with it, right? The skis are a huge part of it. The education that comes with it, the inflation vests, right? That's another big one that happened to kind of push it. But paddling by far is way more challenging, especially if you're doing it in the way you're supposed to do it. You're not like, getting dropped off in the pit or whatever. You have to earn it, like earn your lineups and figure it out. And I think with every session from right now, the 1 to 2 foot Emmawood surfs to, the biggest ocean that you're going to see, the thrill of surfing is being able to read that lineup and figure it out. Right. That's a whole thing. And we do that even when we're not surfing, we're trying to figure out where to be the next swell. Right. So that part of surfing for me is so intriguing that I love it. I love design. I love swells and how they get there. I love figuring surf spots out. I love surfing when I have to engage in the wave every moment while I'm surfing. Like, look at this little wedge. And Emmawood's that, right? Like you're like, there's a south set. Let's chase it down and find that little wedge, a little right. No, look up the north set. We have to chase it. And if you're engaged the entire hour and a half, that's why I was late. I thought, I just surf for an hour, no problem. And like, okay, I have 3 more waves. I'm like, I have no watch on. And and like next thing you know, I'm done. I come in, I'm like, I probably have a little more time, but I don't know. And I'll be there. And I walk up and the kids I asked a kid what time it was. He's all, it's 9 or 10. And I'm 9 or 10. He's 9 or 10. And I'm like, which is it, 9 or 10? He's all, it's 10. And I'm like, you sure? It's 10. And I'm like, no. And I was like, and I ran up to the car and it was 9:55. I was like, you classic. Anyway, you lose time, right? Yeah. That's why we surf. Like, and so that is, going back to that point, the reason why they do it for the love, right? And that was what happened last night. There was some money involved in it. There were some people that earned some little bit of cash for doing what they're doing just to keep them involved, and we want to grow it. And this is a way to grow it. I just started a new sponsor with Darc Sport, and Darc Sport Athletics is what we're doing now. And, I'm going to give a shameless plug, but we're going to do an event. It's going to be rad. And that's the kind of things that are going to happen now with the way the industry is. Like these guys are going to come in and shake things up, man. And it's a good time for surfing, even though it's still a struggle, right? There's some cool things happening. And we can talk about professional surfing because I have some opinions on that, but, man, it was, I just lost my train of thought, but it's for the love. Yeah. And that's why last night was so cool. And, that's why we keep surfing. That's why we're here. That's why I'm talking to you.
For sure. Well, I just think, when I get to talk to guys like you have been doing it for so long and gone through so many different iterations of surfing, and you're still frothing to go paddle out at Emmawood for an hour and a half when it's waist high. Yeah. Like
I got this quad,
it's
dude.
Just inspiring, so like how rad is that though?
Yeah. At 55, I'm literally a Grom again, dude. It's the best thing ever.
It's so cool. And like my dad's going through that right now. Like literally you
guys are all grown up now.
He went to Hawaii and he's like, I'm never coming back.
Yeah, like, I don't blame him.
He's like coaching with Kahea. He's like, all I care about is getting better at surfing. And hanging out with your son. That's
how fit is he too, right?
Dude, he's so fit.
And he's glowing.
Yeah. And it's just so cool to see that,
Keep it up. Yeah. And that thing, there's moments in my life, right, that I lost that. I lost that fire. And those were the darkest times.
Said, don't lose the fire, right, Pete. Dude? Don't lose it.
Oh my God, you have such a solid read. He's like, he's so telling me, don't talk about that stuff. All right, cool. It was a dark time in my life. All right, thank you, Finley. But yeah, there's been some dark times, right? And to move through all of that and be where I'm at right now, which is talking to you on a podcast, telling stories about and having a good time last night and surfing 1 foot Emma and being super psyched.
And being like totally relevant in the surf world.
Yeah,
I just think I'm so intrigued. Like, you know, I talked to Chris Moyes and I'm like, dude, like you've been around surfing and like to me at least, I don't know, sometimes I know I'm like a little bit of an old soul as far as like what I gravitate towards, you know, but I just think it's so cool. You're like, Mike Ho's like still a fucking pro surfer.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is so cool.
Oh no, and he's paid the wave.
Yeah, 100%. You guys, you know, and I think like my brother and I always talk about that. Like we get so inspired. What are there times like when you look back, like at the times when you sort of lost that fire for surfing and maybe it wasn't like what got you through that, or like what did it kind of just come back, you know?
When health I think is a big part of it, right? If you're not taking care of yourself and you don't feel good, you're not inspired in that realm. So being, you know, I was probably drinking and, you know, there was a part, that in getting into drugs didn't help me. Like there's Stoke will do that stuff will kill it instantly. When you do it in excessiveness, right? And that's what I did. And that sucked. So that fire was burnt back at that. And you make bad decisions and you don't have to feel good.
For sure.
But it as soon as you kick back into it and you take care of yourself, all of a sudden you're surfing more. And then it's just that's a natural evolution of good health, you know, eating better. And, but I had, you know, I was responsibilities and jobs and like family and
kids,
you know, it's like
I'm kind of going through that right now. Sometimes I'm like, I want to go surf, but it's like, okay, I got an
no,
hour.
you
Like,
got to
okay,
be
I just
responsible,
won't, you know, and it's,
and you got to pick and choose. And so that happens. That's just part of life. And you made choices. Then there's really some great stuff that happens with that with kids.
Yeah. Now you're surfing Mavericks with your son.
Well, and it's like, you know, they're gone for, it's rad. And he likes doing that. We go surfing all the time together, which is dope.
So cool.
Right. And, you know, I think that helps him. I hope it helps him. It sure helps me. And I don't want that to stop. No, we're getting older. That's another thing I think with your dad too, right? You're getting to an age where you're like getting to your feet. It's a challenge, you know, as quick as you can, you know? So you don't want to lose that.
Do you train?
I mean, I do yoga.
Yeah.
That's
because you look really fit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate that, you know, I have some genes that are helpful. And I take care of myself. I mean, I do yoga and I surf a lot.
Yeah.
Right now, lately, I've been surfing, you know, every day, like probably the last 20 days straight. You know, and I try to surf my sessions now where I'm like, that's why I felt like I only surf for like an hour, but I like surf 2.5, 3 hours. Like I'll try to, right? If the tide allows it, the waves allow it, I'll surf that long. And so that's where I'm doing. I'm like surfing these extended sessions. And so that's where I've been getting my training in and some yoga. Yeah. And, cool. And trying to hydrate and, you know, I take some supplements in the morning, you know, I've got some, collagen and I do an apple cider vinegar, ginger, lemon shot in the morning, every morning. I try to, right? And when I'm home, especially. So I do that every morning. It's a tea, just hot water. And that thing will get your pipes moving. It's necessity. Mm-hmm. And then a collagen, morning latte that has all the goods in it. Got some Bubs, product that I buy and I'm on a little subscription and I get the butter, butter coconut, right? And it's like every day I have a religious cup that's amazing. With that, you know, apple cider vinegar thing. That's how I start my day and I'm pretty fired up from there.
Heck yeah. Surfing.
Yeah.
Out in the youth. Sort of just being in the water just makes you feel so much better every day.
And it's funny, we keep defaulting to that, but that's what it is. Like it's a big part of mental, physical, spiritual health for me, right? And even the spiritual part of it, because that's the only place that I can go and get in touch with it. Like, it's a funny story. I got a wave the other day. I'm not telling everybody about my wave, but I got a wave, which is a place that I have in town. It's kind of one of those places that is special because it's an environment which is controlled by our local crew. It's in the middle of town, right? And it's just the way the reef's set up. You have to kind of understand it. It's a expert wave, you know, and you kind of need to be born and raised kind of to surf there or have a hall pass. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I had this wave that I surfed the other morning. It was like a little bit too high tide for it. So there wasn't anybody really on it. And it was 7 a.m, like early, doing a like early sesh. And got this wave that kind of pieced off. Oh, just double up, like sickest barrel. And it was like this one that like kind of like curved and it was a special like little, it had a wedge, and then like, just funny describing this, but it like squirted me out of it. Like it just picked me up, and like I was super deep, and woof. And it was a smaller wave because it's only, probably shoulder high, but it was just this crazy little mutant wave that spits me out in the channel. And I'm like, did that just happen? And I'm like, that was like, I've replayed it in my mind, and I'm just, whoa. And I'm like looking around, and there's no one around. I literally hooted for myself. That's so sick. And then I'm like, and I was like, that's like I'm 55 years old, and I just got one of the best waves of my life again. And I'm like, and I just, thank you. Now, my spiritual connection, I'm like, yeah. And I start screaming and loving it, like exuding this physical, emotional outburst.
So good.
And thanking, God, really. Yeah. I mean, but I never went to church, but that's what I'm looking, and it's like, thank you. Thank you for that energy. Thank you for giving me that gift.
Totally.
And I was so grateful, and I was screaming, and like no one around. No one saw it.
So sick.
And I'm like, and I think I had to tell John, of course, he's like, yeah, you always say you got the wave of your life. And I'm like, but I kind of did again. And I want to thank CI for that, because like I have some incredible equipment. Yeah. It's sickest equipment right now. Like I have this better everyday quad in the car that's just insane. And I just got a new EPS version of it. And I went on a surf trip with them.
Oh, I know. You guys went
to the HTs, dude. Like, and so thank you, CI. Like
that looked insane.
Yeah. I went to go hang out with Caius King and Keon Martin, who rips, and like little Grom Ale, and Cam Richards, and we scored. I was like sick early season. Like,
so rad.
Pro surfer, dude.
Yeah. Dude, what's up? I know. Margot too. Like I'm like, Margot's freaking just smoking, ripping so hard, going on surf trips with kids, like everyone.
And he had his moment too, right? He was into some darkness, and like had to, and what saved him?
Always
surfing. Yeah. 100% it was, dude.
Just going back to it.
Yeah. Getting into it. And like, it's that spiritual connection to it. It's the community that you get from it. Right. There's rules and regulations that have been passed on for generations that we still abide by in Santa Cruz.
Hopefully, yeah. It's like, it's kind of nice. You guys live in a spot that's still,
like it's so, and like, and I don't know how, like, there's a lot of respect for it. Yeah. Right. There, like you don't see, I mean, we have a university in our town, right? Like a massive university with enrollment that's gigantic, UCSC, like, and you don't think people go to that school because they want to go for the surf? And they are literally the closest surf spot. It's like the lane and like that piece of coastline. You think you'd have some guys that are going to push the limits and try and surf that area. And for the most part, they don't. It happens. There's conflict, but it's like it holds this lore for years that like, hey, but that's the benefit of Santa Cruz is there's waves everywhere, right? Like
you guys got a lot of
I will say there's a lot more pressure on our northern coast now than there's ever been. With the crowds and so forth. Like, there's a whole different level of surfers that are there. So yeah, it's got more crowded, but like, thank God we have
and relative.
It's like a savior to get my wave of my, like I said, the wave of my life, and just keep this burning stoke for this alive. Yeah. Oh gosh,
so sick.
Right?
Physical, okay, mental. Speaking of waves of your life, though, we got to talk about what has to be the wave of your life, the one at Maps, right? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't,
except for the Av one. No, I'm joking.
I watched that, and I was like, I couldn't even, like, it was on Instagram, which is funny to say, but like I was in Hawaii sitting there, and it just starts going everywhere, and I was like, I just kept watching it. I was like, what? Like, I couldn't even like wrap my head around that wave. Yeah. Because I've watched a lot of waves break at Mavericks. I've never surfed out there. Yeah. But I've just seen so many videos, and I was like, what is this chip shot to this and that? And and it didn't pinch, and you're just like, what the hell?
That was the unicorn part of it.
Can you take us through that thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was funny.
I'm laughing inside that you're comparing a shoulder high drainer, which I'm sure was sick at to that wave. Saying it was the wave of your life, because that thing was just on another planet, maybe. Yeah, no, there's different beasts. Yeah,
but I will say that wave, it was special for the app for sure. But yeah, that day it was. It started out pretty special anyway, because I was I watched John get the wave of his life kind of that morning.
Really?
And we went out early, and the swell arrived kind of early, and it was high tide too. So it was kind of this thing where it was like, he was the only one kind of in the bowl at the time. There was only a few guys out, and like he got this sick left that burped, and like it was on a little 9.2, like a board that we shaped, right? He had riding for CI at the time, but he didn't have any CI guns. But we had made him this one, and he rode this left on it. Oh, sick. So that was already kind of a high for us.
And was that one of his, because was that kind of when he first started getting into surfing Mavs that year?
He had been doing it for a couple seasons.
Okay.
Right. He was probably 19 at that time. So
okay.
Well, no, let's go back to, he'd been putting a couple of years in.
Okay.
But the lefts were that was where he was experimenting going left, which is a challenge in its own right. So, it was by far one of his best lefts. He backdoored the thing, and it's like, it was on a higher tide, which is the time to do it. Right. And anyway, he did an insane line. It was rad to see. I'm adrenalized from it all, and The swell's supposed to be picking up too. That was the other part of it. And, we had that going on. And in that session in the afternoon, it just got a lower tide. The swell picked up, and there was some moments where I thought, I've always been looking at this part of the reef that's a little bit more outside. We've seen it on big days. Flea and I, in our era of charging Mavs together a lot, we had seen an outside ledge that breaks, and it's just caps outside, and we always kind of tried to think that we could get there. And I'd seen waves come through that made the outside reef connected to the main reef. So it was a dream, right? It was something that we saw. And that was a line that was never been tackled. The takeoff's kind of right. It's got a nice curve on it if you can get it in the right spot. You saw the chip shot. That was kind of what it was. It's like I saw the type of wave that I was going to go look for. That swell day, I kind of just, you when you're older, right, you start looking at all the ways to understand a swell. And one of those ways of understanding a swell before you actually tackle it is by the buoys, right? And looking at the weather and figuring out what's going to be and the tides, figuring out when that moment's going to happen, right? And so that's 30 years of that, figuring it out, and also going along with technology too. Back in the day, we had a wave fax, right? And we just, a low's coming. We had no idea what time the peak of the swell was going to happen, unless we had some genius that was going to tell us it was doing it through looking at the maps and going, I'm going to do the calculations. There was a couple of mad scientists that did that, and Sean Collins was one of them. But yeah, knowing when the peak of the swell is, what that energy looks like, is it 20 seconds? Is it 17 seconds? Swell direction. Right. Those are all elements that you have to know about a surf spot in order to understand it. And those were 30 years of that moment coming to a culmination where I just I'm going to go surf the outside reef. The tide's just about right. There was a couple waves that kind of looked like you're going to do it, and the swell's still picking up, and the peak of the swell is going to be at 3:00. And I went there. I went to the spot that I luckily, the other thing that was happening too, is that the season, as I recall, we had some waves.
There'd been quite a few swells, right?
Yeah, it was pumping. Yeah. And there was a moment when, the big wave surfing took a progression, and that was a moment where paddling was taking a progression. There was Twiggy's wave that happened in that December part of that swell. December pumped, right? So we had already had a ton of time too. So we were kind of it wasn't the first swell of the season or anything.
You're not okay, I got to sit in the one spot and I got to get my waves. It's I'm going to try something different.
Yeah. But we had been riding waves from the outside reef too. It wasn't the only wave that we've ever done it before, but there's when it gets big, it's just, that was the one that kind of was special. And that day was the right different angle of swell, kind of, on a more north angle, it likes to grab it. Sometimes a northwest angle. This was a more western day. Anyway, it just 15 minutes. I went to the area that I'd been sitting on.
You sat there for 15 minutes?
Yeah, not even that, 10 to 15 minutes. And the wave came. And it was one that I just, and what makes that, that video kind of, if you watch it, is the audio is pretty rad, right? You can listen to it, and it's there's Jamie Mitchell's on it. My son's on it. Kurt Myers is on it, right? He's from Power Lines Productions. He's been filming there forever, right? So it's magic that he got pretty much the only real clean video of it. Pompermeyer nailed the shot, but, the video of it was him, and the audio is epic because you hear look at the condor. And that's like my son. Look at the condor. Look at the guy. And then you see me paddling in. And then you're like, oh my, like, and you listen to it and like, and I come out and like, there's a good 3 or 4 minutes afterwards, which is kind of a funny moment where I'm just like in pure bliss, like literally floating. I was one and done, by the way. I literally rode that wave and it was this, I was like, that's it. I could retire. Yeah. The fire's still there though. But I will say that like, think about that. Like that moment of pure bliss, like that was what happened. And we touched on the beginning of the adrenaline dump to the depression. 100% happened to me on that. After that, like literally, I wanted to lock myself in a room the next day. And I was like, I wanted nobody to talk to. I didn't look at social media. I was like, I tripped. It was trippy. I was like bummed.
Yeah. So weird.
Yeah. I was literally like, it's one of the more depressed moments in my life, which is so weird. And then, that changed again, like, your ego comes in, but that was like the adrenaline, the chemicals in your body. Yeah. And then all of a sudden your mind starts doing stuff. And I was able to, pull myself out of that. But, it culminized 30 years of paying attention to the things I love very much, which was surfing and getting good waves, to that moment happening. And a lot of that moment happening was because of my kids too, like John and his stoked to be part of it, and me kind of throwing there selfishly to watch him and protect as a father would, and be there to support him. But that's why I was there too, right? So that was, that it kind of sparked a moment in my life where I was kind of ending. COVID, but like, remember COVID happened. I was doing some stuff for the WSL at that point, but like no events were happening. Right. And then that kind of stuff, I was able to stay home and I kind of felt attracted to that a little bit. I was like, I've been traveling for a long time before that. Trying to run a surf shop as a business, not really being there, was a little bit more challenging. And my kid wasn't helping, at that point he was on his own path. Mm-hmm. And then, so now all of a sudden it's culminated to a point where, it's in a good place. It's in a good place.
Sick.
Yeah.
And it must be like pretty special to get to share that, like with your sons being out at Mavericks, like the spot that you've been surfing for so long and have so much 30 years of knowledge. Like, yeah. And do they tap into that, or are they, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure they do.
So they're listening.
I talked to John this morning. I was, talked about last night with him, and he's going surfing, up north, and both and my wife too, like being able to share all of it with them. A little choked up. Excuse me. Might lose my voice because of I was screaming last night.
That's okay.
To share it with all of them is it's really, really cool, and I'm grateful for it, because you're going to get to do that too, right? And you're going through it right now where you're giving a lot of yourself to your family, which is good. It's there's a lot of benefits to come from that. I mean, you're going to France right here soon, right? The whole family.
Yeah, with the family.
Yeah. What's he gonna do?
Finley stays with our friends.
Okay, Finley, you gonna be all right?
We can't get
you
a little.
You can come visit. You can come hang out with us.
He might come home with you, dude. He might never want to come home. Look how stoked he is.
You can come meet Moxie.
Yeah, man, I can only imagine. Like, I took Archie down to the beach yesterday and met up with with Kokoro. You know Kokoro?
Yeah, I do.
Kokoro's got a 2.5-year-old.
He's in a good place now too, huh? Right?
Yeah,
good.
Working for CI, and he's got a great wife, and his family's still here in Carp, Thomas. So we went down to the beach, where we've grown up surfing our whole lives. Yeah. And we got our I was just sitting there pinching myself, like walking around with Archie. He's like crawling in the water, and I'm towing him around on a boogie board, and he's like, we're barely doing anything, but it's so fun.
That to me is like, it's funny when people are like, oh, how'd you teach Sean? Or when did he start surfing? And all that stuff. Like, to me, surfing is taking your kid to the beach. Mm-hmm. Right? The moment you do that, like, you're putting a sun on the screen on, you're putting a hat on, you're training them. to be surfers, right? So you do all these things and literally wave action, like, at the beach you're towing around and you get, tossed into a wave. Like that's surfing. That's the start of it, right?
Sure.
That's the comfort within the ocean, the experiences in the ocean, wearing a wetsuit all day, like, and the stoke that it brings to everybody who's there, right? Those are all training. That's starting it. Totally. Starting the love and the big thing overarching part of the surfing is the physical, mental, and spiritual part of this is that's what you're instilling in your child. And it's sharing that is awesome. Mm-hmm. And it's all those things you get to share that we've talked about since Hawaiians started it. Like, they brought surfing to America in late 1800s. And that started kind of like, how did you surf? How things worked? Like you made your own surfboards, which you think about that. Like they carved them, made them, right? That was something that was the foundation of the sport. And all of a sudden, like even professional surfers, like the very first professional surfers made all their own equipment.
I know.
Right? How dope was that? Like, and that's something cool. It goes back to this, like we live and breathe from the very beginning. Surfing is like, and we hold on to those ancient things that we've learned and we pass it on to our kids. And that part of it, it's just like, in a way, it's kind of like a religion in a way, because you learn rules and how to take care of yourself and, not hurt the environment that you live in. And
for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
How you treat other people.
Yeah. And if you get off track and you're not surfing, all of a sudden you're like, wait, what's going on here? Come back onto the track. Okay. I'm surfing again. Like
if you're surfing every day, you're basically on a great path. There's not many people that surf every day that are screwing up.
Yeah.
Just the facts.
And speaking of boards too, like in that wave, that was on the board that you designed with Channel Islands,
yes. Right? Well, I mean, I had bless Channel Islands, first of all. Travis Lee got me getting boards from, and I think his motive at that point in time, because I was working on the commentary team. Why not get, the commentary team on some team equipment, right? Yeah. And that's how I got taken care of. It was literally, Kelly and Trav, like we're stoking me out with boards. And Britt, like I've got a long relationship with Britt. We're same age-ish, he's younger than me a little bit, but, we used to do the WSA, the World, Western Surfing Association. And he was part of that. Like we kind of came from the same mold in a way. I mean, Dad built a company, shaper, you were like the shaping son, you're supposed to just automatically figure it out. Right. It's like, but I got stoked on it and he's doing the same things. We kind of had these same paths and we have a really nice connection. Great dude. And, the fact that I was able to get these boards and all of a sudden, I was able to help, I wanted a couple of big boards and actually, the first big wave board I got from them was one that was made for, who was it made for? It was a little bit, it's made for, remember who's the guy who used to run accessories? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting.
Martinson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was, he had a gun. It was for him and he had broken his leg. And that board came to me and he was a bigger dude at that time than me. And so it was a beefy board. Like it was kind of intimidating. I remember. And like, I was like, I don't know if I ride a board this big, because we didn't ride huge boards back in the day. But there was a trend where it went like everyone's going 10-6 because they wanted to like catch the biggest wave.
Yeah.
But this one was a bigger board. I ended up riding it one day in February, the first time I think I rode it, and the thing was sick. Like paddled insane. It didn't feel like it was this huge 10-foot board. Like I was like, wow, really cool. These fucking work. And in that era, I think that, California shapers had kind of a stigma in Hawaii that they weren't, the boards don't work here, kind of a thing. Right. Mm-hmm. And everyone kind of rode the Hawaiian shapes, which I value that, but at the same token, like, anyway, these, just was part of it. Right. And I rode this board and I loved it. And then I got another, 2 boards from them where I got to order some for myself. And those were insane. I still have them. I still ride them. Simon actually shaped them.
Okay. Damn. So so this was a while ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
10 years.
Right? Yeah. No, I've been with them for a long time. Yeah. I mean, I started in 2014 at the WSL. Right. So it's 10 years ago. And like it didn't happen much later than that. Like,
okay.
And that started that relationship. But the equipment was insane. And so that board basically was the first ones that Britt made. And it was a file that we wanted to kind of refine. So I started working with Britt to refine that model. he hand shaped a lot of it because it was like the file was so thick and beefy at the time. It was some, file that Kelly had that Al had worked on, and so it was this older file that was like, they had to transfer and manipulate and, so it changes. Right. And so we had to kind of do some changes. Sorry, Finley, am I squishing you? And that was part of it. It was a little thin out and these things, insane boards. I have that board. I put that one up in the rafters. John has,
is that one retired?
It is. Yeah. I've got good ones now too. They're good. I don't mind, but that one's pretty special. I mean, I might bust it out here and there, but big wave surfing is funny because we could go through the season and not even do it.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I mean, unless you're going to be chasing it, I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to go, I may, if things fell into place, go to Jaws one time to see it. I've paddled it in the past, but I don't make an effort every time, but it's still intriguing to me. It's still a challenge that, and you got to keep challenges in front of you. And then we refined the file even further from that board with Britt, but, cause he felt like he was looking at these boards and they don't look super sexy. It's funny cause we kind of thinned them out. They kind of have this really beaky nose, and all the trending boards was like these lower rockers. It was all about the paddling. Look at the boards that were being designed by KT over in Jaws. They're all these lower rockers because they're trying to get down through the wind. And whereas, in Mavericks, it's great to have a board that paddles great. But I also if you look at that board, the way that it fit in the transition and it was an older school design. It had some flip in the nose, and that was why that board did the performing that it did.
Absolutely.
It kind of ticked a little bit. And if I could have fallen right in the pit right there.
It looked like if you had one of those boards with a bunch of volume forward and that kind of wider outline, I don't think you could have drawn that line that you drew maybe.
So the file was refined from there, which is now again, pulling the foam back a little bit, a little more, and now the Mavs gun file is insane.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And that's, doing that with Channel Islands and Brit Merrick, and we've been working on tow boards. I've got another, thing I'm trying to work on with them. So that part of the need to, participate in design and having, like I said, the best little quad under my feet right now, that makes me want to surf every day.
Yeah.
It's key.
How gnarly is that testing a design and a theory? You just said it. You might go a whole winter without barely getting to ride a big wave.
Yeah.
And let alone paddle out on a day that's freaking massive and be like, okay, cool. I got this new board and this idea, and I'm going to send myself over the ledge on a 30 footer. It's not like paddling out at Emmawood on your favorite quad going, cool. Does it work?
No, it's a challenge. And trying to push you're trying to push the envelope of design too, right? For that example is part of it too. So there's trial and error in that, and the consequences can be a little bit higher if you're erring. So but that's just part of it. I think you take a different approach, right? It's not like you're going to go straight to the peak and whip it on a 25 footer right out of the gates. You
maybe
take a calculated risk.
Okay.
And that's what's so awesome about Mavericks. I think as a surf spot, it's this, huge deep channel that never breaks. And so you can edge yourself in and it's very appealing. The other side of it is it's cold. There's, huge sharks that frequent the area. There's rocks that you go through. There's, massive waves. It's a slab, all those dangers that come with it. But overall, it's one of the best paddle waves in the world, and the reason being it's pretty consistent. We get to surf it quite a bit, especially now more than ever. You start seeing what allows it to break. It breaks a lot, not huge, but it breaks a lot. So you can try stuff out, without getting too.
Yeah, you can get on a 15-foot day.
And there's the lane too. That's the other thing. You can actually try boards at the lane. That's a perfect place to do. A big middle peak. It's a great place to see if a board works. For sure. Right. And that's why I think you see such great surfers out of our town is the adversity of surf. We've got in town, Steamer Lane could be 30 foot, dude. It could be a huge wave, right? It's we've surfed it 30 foot before. So have that in your backyard, and then also wedges and river mouths and beach breaks and all seasons you're surfing. There's different swell directions. We get south swell in Santa Cruz because we're facing south. It's an incredible place to live and create great surfers. Although right now we need a little kick in there, because I mean, there is some actually really good young surfers right now. They're starting. It's weird. There's like a little trend right now. I was actually talking about this with Brent Power. Like there's this gap in the 14 to 16 range right now, 17 range. That are, there's actually one of the better kids is Brody Price from Santa Cruz, right? And he's like 16, I think, right? But there's just not a lot of that talent right now.
It's funny how it kind of ebbs and flows, huh?
It does. For sure it does. Like there's a lot of great women right now, young women. Yeah. Especially in our town.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up there you pretty much grew up in like the heyday of Santa Cruz. Like seemed like you just had the gnarliest posse of people at a time that was gnarly, and you guys were just all surfing together and pushing each other.
Yeah. There was a good crew. And we were trained by an older generation a little differently. And again, there was a lot of respect that you had to earn through that whole thing, but we were pretty gnarly on each other. It wasn't like, it was tough to prop people up. Mm-hmm. We tear you down to keep you all kind of we all try to keep each other at the same level. If like you think you're a little badass, you got pulled down pretty quick. And that was just and I think it wasn't just in Santa Cruz that it was happening, but like there were certain pods that it was happening. I think it happened like probably, I don't know how the Dogtown crew was towards each other, but it also, that might've been part of the reason they all kind of came up together as a group. North Shore was pretty gnarly, right? Back in the day. Mm-hmm. And that was part of it too. Like now it's a different time, but you prop each other up. But we were pretty hard on each other and heckled each other, and it was in love, but at the same time, there's some emotional scars that come with it. For sure. Psychology wise, it's not exactly, and then you treat other people that way too. Like it interrupted my life when I was treated, I used to like my group of friends used to beat me up to make me cry, because I'd cry. Like that was how I grew up. My group of friends would like beat me up and make me cry and make me embarrassed. But in the way it said, I'm gonna fucking prove you guys wrong. Yeah, totally. And and that group was like, I was kind of the best surfer, but like all those kids I hung out with just used to fucking terrorize me. And so that's, and then it transitioned to my peer group friends and how I treated people. And it's not healthy, dude. I never want to train that, but that was pretty hard to get through. We're partying hard to try and, prove each other in that way, like who can drink more and whatever, just everything you're competing at. Yeah. But again, as the positive side of what came of that was this really great group of surfers that had, made a huge influence, and even photographers too. You think about who at that era that showcased what we were doing was Tony Roberts and Josh Palmer. But, Tony Roberts started it for me because he was, the first ones to do Surf Skate. I don't know if you remember that film Surf Skate, but like it was Super 8, right? So it was film. You had this little camera. He had to and he just went around with this camera and filmed all his friends and made this really classic movie. It just showed up on YouTube, Real Surf Stories, Tony Roberts. He was the guy that brought our world to you guys, everyone, right? It was all of a sudden we had this movie, a surf movie. There was magazines back in the day, and he was, that was kind of his first passion, but then he started doing stills, right? And he basically created this Santa Cruz posse that, we had photos and tried to get photos and everything. And that was what a pro surfer was in the day. It was like, you either were on the world tour, which felt out of reach to us because you had to travel so much at that time. It was like one tour. You had to go through the pro class trials, and it was hard. It was, great surfers were involved in it. And so, to make the top 16 or the top 32 at that time was a challenge. So we had to make do, and photo incentive, right? Remember photo incentive, how cool that was? Yeah. Get a shot in the mag with all your stuff on there. You get like a, $3,000 kick or something, depending on the cover, you get maybe 10 grand, right? Yeah. Right. It was a big deal. And that's how we focused on becoming a professional surfer. And TR was such a great, talented photographer. He'd get these shots that would get on the cover and Surfing Magazine. And then we started working with other photographers, and you go on these trips, and that was our pro surfing career. And we push each other at that, at those surf sessions with all, who did the biggest air, who got the shot, and that's how you progressed as your peer group, that you pushed each other, and we heckled the shit out of each other. But it made the entire group kind of rise as a level, because we just pushed each other that hard. but there was some destruction that came from it too.
Yeah.
You know, there's some scarring that was there and that I had to work through.
For sure. Who was
and
the
still
core?
working through.
Yeah. Who was the core crew like that you were?
I mean, if we were going to look at our surf crews, you know, it was me and Flea and Loya and the Acker brothers. But it was like endless, dude, right? Like Adam, Galley. I mean, those two were the only two that made it really to the big leagues, right? You know, Galley wins events, right? Like, so he was a big part of that group. But then there's all the photo guys that were, you know, that just did the photos with Barney, right? Remember Barney? And, you know, that was kind of our peer group that ended up, you know, passing away. We had many friends who passed away because of, you know, the choices we made. I'm lucky to get through my life, you know, some of the choices I made. And Flea too, right? Like, and look where he is now. Like you know, there's only a couple of choices you can make when you're in that kind of a place of using and abusing, and you know, you've got to stop using and abusing. and he's, you know, Flea's in a sick place. Got 2 beautiful daughters and a wife, and he drives a bus at UCSC, and like he surfs all the time, and he helps other folks out with Flea Hab. Like that's rad. You got, you know, Loya was a big part of that era too. I mean, there's endless. Josh Mulcoy, like it's going to keep going. Rat Boy, you know, then there's the group underneath that came, and the Heenards and the Matt Rockholtz and, you know, like the Kieran Horns, you know, remember all, I mean, it's endless, right?
No, it's like fun. I mean, I know, like growing up, those are all the names that, you know, like, oh yeah, the Santa Cruz guys, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know, you know, you look back at, and even like around here too, I do that sometimes. I'm like, God, I just felt like there was so many more. You know, like, you probably couldn't name that many surfers in Santa Cruz right now that are like at that level, you know, right? That are pushing it and trying to get after it.
I mean, I mean, pro surfing doesn't exactly have the most alluring, you know, it's the surfing part of it. Yeah. And like, so, and now there's, I mean, there was a couple avenues of ways to, you know, make a living at it, right? At surfing, if you were going to do it, it's, you know, you're competing and you were good enough to compete that you basically got sponsorship, and then you're on tour. Like that was a way to make money. Or you were at this photo incentive thing when you had magazines, like that was an avenue. Traveling surfer, you make surf movies, and that's still kind of the place today, but like there's not as much support from the industry anymore. So you basically become your own brand.
Totally.
But that was our avenue.
And the tour side of it too, like I just don't think that there's, you know, before it was like, if you're on the CT, like you're guaranteed, you know,
$100,000,
like,
right?
yeah, probably way more for a while, you know. It was like guys were, I remember when I was getting on, it was like all those guys were making so much dough. Now
I mean,
it's like,
you were making like prize money wise, you make 100.
Yeah, you make over 100, 110, 120 grand.
If you lose every heat and then you're off tour, but like you're not, if you're on tour, you're making 200K probably because you're making enough money.
Making some heats and, you know, I felt like it was like guaranteed you probably had a good sponsor for a long time if you were on tour. Whereas now, I mean, there's guys who are doing and gals doing the tour with like barely any sponsorship support either.
For the love, a little bit,
for the
right?
love,
I mean, and yes, there's, the sponsorship comes when you do well, but there's a lot of unsponsored surfers on that tour, or low paid surfers. You know, it's not like there's a salary now where this industry's be able to give you money because they're not making as much money. Yeah, totally. You know, and there's a lot of things that you can point the finger at of why that's all happened. But, you know, biggest thing for me is probably the, well, I wouldn't say it's the only reason, but like the homogenization of it all, right? Where all of a sudden you sell out and all of a sudden they're all owned by one company, which is a lot of industry is that way. Drink industry, for example, or whatever, but like it just homogenized everything. And that made it tough for, especially if you're trying to run events and tours, but let alone sponsor surfers, especially mid-level surfers. It's like, you know, you had the Johns and the Gabes, and they're making a really good ching. And that it filtered down to probably the top 20, 30, you know, maybe, but now it's like, you know, it's probably top 10. That's coming back up. Right. Now, it's just because of, you know, the industry as a whole, but, and now, like, I think the roadmap, if you look at, you know, being a pro surfer if you like competing, it's a great way to do it. You have to be good enough to do it. Cause now, I mean, it keeps shrinking. The tour keeps shrinking too. It's not like it's
and the
level's
level's higher than it's ever been.
And the globe is, you know, talent is gigantic, you know, all these surf, you know, Indo to, you know, Africa to, Japan, right? China, like there's going to be, a global challenge now. Mexico, like all South American guys are good now too. Right. So that's just like added to the mix
for sure. Yeah. Which is exciting.
Tough. So those avenues now, like you got to be your own brand. Right. You got to like redefine. And now it's like, how many followers do you have on that stupid Instagram and your YouTube subs? And that's a lot of work too, but hey, anybody can do it. It kind of opens the whoever wants to be entertaining and, look at, right. The guys who started with the YouTubes,
like Nathan,
Nathan Florence, his roadmap is solid, right? But he works hard.
Works so hard.
I mean, he's always worked hard.
Yeah.
John living the dream right now.
Yeah.
Gosh,
so
what
cool.
a third world title and just sailing off into the sunset, literally.
Yeah. Literally. Getting two by himself.
And he's got a company that's killing it. Like Florence is nailing it, right?
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Right. And it's a good time for that. And it's a big change in the way that industry is being done, right? Like the clothing industry is direct to consumer now. Like I run a surf shop. Right? How do I redefine what a surf shop is these days? Because, selling third-party clothes isn't exactly an avenue that you'd want to put your business into. And all of a sudden you got to invest in your own brand because you can make your own stuff now. You can sell your own stuff now, and they do it on YouTube. You're making your own product, right? And so there's so much stuff out there, and it's directly from your damn device to your door, right?
So crazy,
as a retailer, that's a little bit of a challenge. And the things that, basically you bring to the table that they can't get from that damn device is a little personality, some education, service, right? Like, last minute is one thing, like providing a service that you can't get from AI or your phone, right?
Yeah. Like, oh my God, I need a leash. Going to Freeline.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like, they always have that. But I mean, if you wanted to get a leash back in the day, you had to go to a surf shop.
Yeah.
Now it comes to your door, and if you don't like it, they have a package that you can just put it back in and put it back at your door, and it goes away, right? Like,
so crazy. I know.
It's brutal, right? So as a retailer, that's a little bit of a challenge, but it also gives an opportunity for anybody to kind of create a pathway where you're gonna, you become an influencer. And literally, what you are is you just become a character on your device.
Buy this,
and you sell it. But you get to live your dream.
I always think back to like
Nathan's living his dream.
Yeah.
And he's probably banking too. He's making, he read books, he's he's investing, and he's like, oh dude, he's challenging himself every day.
Yeah. He's freaking getting after it. It's pretty cool.
And it's cool. And he watched that on his YouTube. I mean, I watch his YouTube all the time.
Yeah. It's good.
Some of them are better than others, but like for the most part, it's authentic Nathan. And I enjoy that.
You're along for the ride for sure.
Yeah. And you ran a YouTube, right? Like
we did a little.
You started it. You're kind of in the beginning, dude. Young Wise Tales was a part of it. Like you guys could have kept it going, and your subs would have been pretty good. You might have some money.
What happened? I mean, when we first started
Finley,
doing it, it was a little bit more just like making a short film here and there, and we weren't doing like the weekly.
Oh yeah, no, you got to literally have a camera on your selfies all day long.
Yeah, it was more just about like surfing. We do it. It was more surfing than whatever.
In order to be popular, you better have that camera pointed on you.
Yeah, and we did it for a little bit, and Parker and I were both kind of just like, this just feels a little like weird. I don't know. We kind of had a hard time feeling like it stayed interesting.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I was doing the tour.
I'm following you on your boat builds, dude.
Yeah.
We lost you though. Like you disappeared for a year. It's like, dude, where's the boat? And then all of a sudden I see on your Instagram it's launched. I'm like, well, now I'm not going to watch it.
I know. I got to go back. I was trying to, and then
it's hard work.
The project just became so much. And then I'd come home and I'd be so fried. I'd be hanging out with the mom and the wife.
You gotta edit it. Like, no, dude, believe me.
I was like, okay.
100% behind you. It's hard work.
Try to get back to that.
And Nathan makes it look easy.
Yeah, he does. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I gotta say. But that's a pathway. Like, that's what a pro surfer is now. Like, Ben Gravy, right?
Totally.
Like it's he's got the camera in his face. He's fucking made a career out of it. He's, he's sober and like that's why he has success. He has this great story and like you want to follow it.
Yeah.
And, Jamie O'Brien, very beginning, pioneered it, just did his thing and he's still making great money from it.
For sure.
100% he is.
Well, I think it kind of goes back to like at the end of the day and like we're both doing it. It's like if you keep doing the things that you love to do and you're passionate about them and you're putting energy into them and working hard at them, like,
yeah, it's going to work out.
Kind of feels like usually the
surf every day.
You end up figuring out how to make it happen. I don't know.
I mean, as surfers, thinking about this, and we want enough to be able to keep surfing. Like you'll design your work around it. You'll design your family. Like you create a family around it. you find ways to subsidize it, right?
Yeah.
And again, that power, that energy carries on, and especially if you're doing it every day.
Totally.
It's pretty good.
I know. I remember back when I was a kid, I was getting really into surfing, and I never thought of, I never started surfing because I wanted to be a pro surfer. Like, I was so young, and all of a sudden I was like, well, I just don't really want to do anything else. Yeah. So, can I figure out how to make a living out of this? And it was just by default almost that it was like, oh, well, I just don't really want to go do something else so I can surf more. I just want to be able to surf all the time,
Yeah. How is that? Do you miss competing at all still?
At times, yeah. I think
because you weren't always the one, as I recall, you were really good at competing. Thanks. Watching you as a Grom and coming up through there, but it didn't seem like, you weren't a man eater.
No.
So to get where you were not being a man eater, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know a better term, but
no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's I never had that instinct of just I have to go, I just want to go beat this other guy so bad,
And hyper focused either. You always were so just casual about how you were able to compete. You didn't take losses hard, really. At least not on camera, right?
I always just felt I guess, I like to compete, but I like to compete because it let me surf every day, you know? So I think it was always more that for me. I didn't have to win. I was like, if I can compete and surf and keep doing this, okay, I'm going to keep doing this, and
plus then the tour had great waves. So
the tour had great. The tour was insane. I got to,
and it's still good.
Yeah. I think it's getting better again.
Yeah.
It seems like now, but definitely there was a while there when I was like, oh my God, before I got on tour, I was like, that's really what I want to do. And then I kind of got into I had the opportunity to do some movies for Kai, and I got to go on a bunch of surfing mag trips and do all this shit that was just insane, going on boat trips to Indo, and I was doing all this stuff that I was like, oh my God, I'm surfing best waves in the world. Don't have to compete. This is super cool.
Bills are paid.
Yeah. And, I was riding for, I had good sponsors. And I was stoked. I was like, well, maybe I just want to do this. Parker and I were doing Young Wise Tales. So we were kind of putting our own trips together and with whoever we wanted to go on, doing these, working with the mags and stuff. We had this sweet little time right there. Yeah. And I kind of started to get pulled away from I don't know, do I want to, maybe I don't want to compete, because the QS is hard.
No, I know.
So I'd be going from that to then going to
and you only had so many chances, right? Where you're just here's the Challenger Series or whatever they call it. The 6,000, when you were doing it, it was 6,000.
Yeah.
Right?
There was all 10,000s. There was whatever. It was all different. You could go anywhere though, which I think was cool. Is you could look at the schedule and be like, I'm going to go surf El Salvador because that's the right point. And then I'm going to go to J-Bay QS. Yeah. I'm going to go surf the Vulcan Pipe Pro, so you could put together this schedule of oh, these are waves that I could compete well in. Whereas now if I was going to do it, I'm like, okay, Morro Bay, Pismo, Cocoa Beach. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I'm not very good at any of those spots.
There's no desire right there.
Yeah.
And that's, I like the roadmap it's in right now, but go finish your thought.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I took losses hard still.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hard on myself, and hold myself to high standard, and I get stuck in here sometimes.
Yeah.
So my challenge was always competing was moving on from that loss and not overanalyzing it and not beating yourself up for some mistake that's hindsight,
And you had that good run there for a bit, right? Remember how the run you had to go on, and then all of a sudden it was it was hard to make a heat. All of a sudden you're there's no changes happening. All of a sudden they're not scoring your carve like they used to, or whatever. You're
totally.
Where would that come from?
Oh, for sure.
And I saw it happening because I was on tour. I was like, wait a minute, they're not scoring it as good as they used to.
Yeah. And you go, and you're like, what did I just say? And they're like, oh, well, we know you can do a better turn than that. You're like, well, it's still I'm supposed to beat the guy over there, not beat myself.
Yeah. Right. And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
As a judge, don't get me wrong. It's to judge the person that you're surfing. And I always brought that up. You guys fucking judging him against himself. Gabe had that happen tons.
Totally.
And you for that.
I watched you.
You got kind of worked actually, in my opinion.
Thanks. Well, anyways, yeah. And but the worst.
But I want to say, hopefully you're in a good place in your life.
Oh, dude, no, it's just funny how it all works out. At the time, I had that great year. I got fourth, and then the next year it was I could not make a heat.
Yeah, it was
I was just dude, I felt I'd even gotten better. I was like, dude, I'm surfing better. All my free surfs, I was I have better boards. I'm more fired up. I'm fit. I felt better than the year I got fourth, you know? but it just wasn't.
You were pumped
coming
too.
together. Yeah, I was fired up.
And it's easy to get kicked in the nuts a bunch of times,
Dude,
right?
and I just like
I go,
into a
it's hard to
concrete
come
wall.
back.
Yeah, and then once I didn't make the mid-year cut, I was just like, I kind of always told myself if I fell off tour, I was like going to be done.
Yeah.
And
so
then
you had already kind of in that way made a choice.
I sort of had, but then I was like, but all I have to do is like get 6 months and I could be back, you know? And so I tried, but
you had to have the Leo Fioravanti kind of mentality. He's like, that guy never said anything.
Never said no, not taking no for an answer. And that was, I don't think I quite had that, you know? And I think what you said too is like, maybe my casual approach is like, I was always interested in a lot of other, like I love free surfing. I love traveling. I like fishing. I like being in the water.
There was that.
I was like, I have all this other stuff. And when you're on the tour, it's like, dude, you're freaking
you gotta be
one track mind or else you're not doing well.
Robot.
And so I think I just got to the spot where I was a little bit like, I'm kind of want to do more than just like go back to grinding on the, you know, like focusing. Cause I don't like the word grinding because it's the sickest, it's the best job in the world, you know, like grinding fiberglass is grinding.
No, you've done that.
Yeah, I've done that. I know what that is now. But like when you go, you know, and like even going to do the QS, like, it's hard, but it's still, you know, you're surfing.
Yeah.
You get to go surf every day.
You're competing.
That's not hard.
Yeah, no, it's fun. The stresses of getting our boards there.
Yeah, like
the travel.
it's challenging.
Oh my God, I'm so sore.
Super challenging, but like the act of like the job is not hard. So I always just try to remind myself of that. But I don't know. I also wanted to start a family and I didn't really want to be traveling all the time.
Yeah. And missing those moments is gnarly.
Yeah.
And I reflect on my life, like me was very selfish. Like I was like when John was born and even Anthony for that matter, I was, you know, in the height of my addiction and I was like neglecting my family, and that's hard, dude. Like I had to make up for some of that stuff, and I was kind of there, but I wasn't there. Anyway, I appreciate that. So like, the family thing, when you're going to focus on the family, you should be focused on the family. Yeah.
And I feel super fortunate that I've been able to, because in a lot of choice, you know, if I needed to still be doing the tour, I'd still be doing the tour and I'd be missing this or I'd bring it in. But so I've been really stoked and fortunate to get to be here for like the first year, 16 months, whatever, my son's life, a lot. You know, I've been gone, I've traveled and still doing stuff, and I want to do more, but just to like have this first year of like, okay, this is what it's like being a dad, you know, it's pretty fun. Yeah. And 9 to 5 isn't exactly stinking around your son either, right? Like, that's true. Like the job allows us to have like these really cool, close moments and spend lots of time. And then go away for 10 days or whatever, you know? But like hopefully you got great family, right? That helps and supports what you do. So that's always nice. Yeah, no, I'm super stoked. But I do, to go back to your original question, like, you know, I'm watching the finals at Cloudbreak. Like, ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah. You know, but then I think about what it takes to get back there and the focus and like the commitment to it. And I'm like, I just don't know. Unless you just get a gifted wild card, like, what do you think of that? I take at first, this is Julian Wilson I'm going to talk about, the fact that he just kind of like applied and asked for the spot and gets the spot, you know, tries to get it. And he did, he got a wild card for this year. For the Challenger Series this year. Yeah. Yeah. And then he goes in that event and just blows mine. So at first I was like, damn, Julian, kind of feels like you're getting gifted in there. Why aren't you grinding out? And then all of a sudden he wins like the first event he did regionally, right? He won that one, and then he goes and smokes everybody in the CT. So I was like, I ate my words on that one, Julian. Sorry. I didn't actually say anything, but I was just thinking it. Thinking it, yeah. I just said it now. But what do I think about that? I think that I feel like there should be something if you've done the tour, like if you were 5 years, like pick a number, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that you should be able to get into a Challenger Series event for a while. And maybe if they're like, okay, if you get 1 year to get in, or maybe it's 2 years, you could be in events, like, maybe you could like, put it on hold for a year or something. You know, I just think that there's the mental health thing, right? You can use that one. I don't know. I just think if you've done it for that long and like all of a sudden, like with all the changes, you know, you're okay with the Julian. Yeah, I was okay with it. Cool. Yeah, I backed it. Yeah. And he backed it. Yeah. So I just think, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing you get gifted and you go down and get 4s in your heat. It sucks, right? Totally. Hang it up, bro. And maybe it's like situational, I guess, which is everything, you know, like, oh, okay, well, weird. But to like have a surfer of that caliber then go back to like, okay, I got to get through this regional thing and all that, you know, I don't know. I think I should get one more chance. Yeah. And maybe the avenue of, you know, the levels that we have it, right?
now setting up. But like the thing is, like if you look at a region that's blossoming,
yeah, right? There's only so many spots, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and right now you think of Australia killing it, right? They have a great region. They have a bunch of events, right? Yeah. So they give a bunch of opportunity. They webcast everything, right? And then Asia has got NEOS and they're going to, these great waves.
Totally.
Right. That's sick. It's just the unfortunate thing is that, you got this North America, South America is a little funky, the regions, Europe seems to be producing some good surfers and they've got some spots that they're putting together and they have at least a nice region. It'd just be nice to be able to have the regions be able to sustain a certain group of surfers to be allowed them to keep competing. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's, how many factors is that? I mean, it's not like you're going to pump a bunch of money into, you got to pay for it.
Totally.
Find somebody to pay for it.
Yeah.
We can't find anybody to pay for it. So it's not like you're going to ask Darc to cough up anotar couple mil, right? Just support he's already given his part, right?
Totally. I know that is the weird thing I feel like for our region is, if it was like the lane and lowers and, I don't know, wherever there's some good waves are, that it would be, I just feel like the cream sometimes rises to the top, but it's hard to those some of the waves we get to surf on those are tough.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like when I was younger, it was like, I could surf lowers in the lane and,
it was epic. Like there were some spots.
There was some pretty good waves, like I could put together like the QS events that I was going to surf for the year and be like fired up to go to all of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like
that's not there.
Yeah. It's not really there. And even still, like, I think if there were some of those waves, like I'd still want to like do an event or two just to compete a little bit,
Yeah.
Go to be able to go surf like the Vulcan Pipe Pro or something. Because at the end of the day, like
now the Challenger series got pipe on it right now. It's kind of dope, right?
I know, it's cool.
And like that investment is good. So there's some positive changes happening there. And in an industry, it's not easy to get money, right? Like I don't think it's, especially when you're dealing with, luckily they found that avenue of trying to get into the tourism dollars, which I think is a valuable thing for, not only the WSL, but like for a country. Like if you're going to invest in something that's cool, surfing is a rad way to do that, and it sustains tourism and brings people to the places they're at. So I like that the government's right. Portugal's another great example of that. That's worked for them, right? Like I know that it doesn't necessarily. I mean, for example, like Santa Cruz, do you have a tourism budget that Santa Cruz City has or Santa Cruz County has that can invest in these events to be able to help provide for the community as well as the surfers that are in that community? And there's just no budget for that. Like they're trying to fix roads, they're trying to build bridges. It's like, and there's no investment from America in that realm.
I know.
None.
Which is sort of crazy because, I mean, not going political, but like we pay a lot of taxes. Like you'd think that maybe some of that could be allocated to some fun shit.
Talk to your city council. Talk to your city council. Run for,
No. I had my foray into politics when I was athletes rep. You did that where I think I'm good on that.
Yeah, I've gone through a few of that too, man. Oh, it's funny. Politics is funny.
Yeah, it is.
Especially right now. Jeez.
I know.
We're not going to get into
you just
politics.
Have to go like
we're actually a vacation from that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to give you an hour and a half and we're going to take you on a vacation.
Like I surf so that I can go to church.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
Get out there and just like,
I mean, the ocean will humble in a very real way, emotionally, and it's done it, in the positive ways and also in, negative ways too, right? You get your beatings, man, you get humbled. Yeah. You're like, whoa, there's something way more powerful than these little biceps I got.
So funny. Like even small days, sometimes you're like, oh, my board just freaking, I don't know, I'm going to the ER, a couple stitches later. Yeah. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Especially if you're pushing it, right? Like, listening to Eitan, I was doing a little homework, but Eitan talking about his poor injuries, man. He's been, he's young and like in his prime and just had to deal with two blown out shoulders and ankles. And I'm stoked to see him 100%.
Yeah. I know Eitan's a freaking,
and I look forward to seeing
force.
what else, he had his camera guy with him. I'm like, I'm going to probably see right now the huge error that he just did on Instagram.
And I think that's too, like, I mean, to be 55 and still like pushing it at the level that you're doing it. And like, I mean, I
was chucking tail, bro.
Dude, it's insane. Surfing Mavs. I mean, shit.
No, I know. I mean, I wonder about that. Like how much longer I will do it, like I look forward to the season. I'm like, okay, I'm going to see how I feel. And am I being destructive or unsafe by doing it? Like, but I'm like, I feel as fit as I've been. Like, no, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like I'm all right, but I don't know. I don't know until the day of, and that's what's I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason why I do it is because I love it, right? I don't have to do it. And we'll see. Like, I'm still psyched. I'm ordering another board. I got a tow board coming. So that kind of means I'm still in.
You're in.
Yeah.
I got to get up there and come freaking piggyback one with you guys.
Dude, do it.
Yeah.
100%.
I'd like to.
You got an invite?
Thank you.
Yeah. No,
I've been talking about it for a while. I just I need to get the preparation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That cloud break day gave me like a taste into it, and I was like, ooh, this is pretty fun.
Yeah. And it's, and like you get, there's, something about getting the biggest wave of your life or whatever, or like, it's, and you can do it in increments, right? You don't have to go to Everest to do it. But I will say that Mavericks will give you an opportunity to train to get the exhilaration. Because the thing about that wave too is that you can get one off the shoulder and like it's still like it's a wave, right? It'll load up and like you'll feel speed and it's sick, right? It's a sick wave. So come join us.
I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely having the little guy like start. That's the first time I ever thought about like, oh,
what's the biggest board you got in here?
not big enough. 7.6.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
No,
That's not going to cut it.
We gotta go get one.
We got extras.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I got a Mavs gun. It'll
Yeah,
get
there
you
we
down
go.
the face. You can be confident that's going to work.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That 7.6 is. I rode that at Cloud Break. That thing goes insane. It was one I'd never ridden it. I paddled out there.
Hey,
just going
JS
like,
makes a nice gun too, dude.
And I was like, oh yeah, this thing goes. I remember I got some like air under me on one drop, and I was like, this is not how I want to feel. And it just grabbed the face. And
it's dope. That feeling is dope.
That's a quad too. Yeah.
It's dope.
I think the quads are. It's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah,
on those
I mean,
bigger
there's
waves,
the drawback to it. I mean, if I were gonna, I always got to give you the yin and the yang of it. But
what is the drawback?
I mean, for me, I found like with quads is that you have to get moving, right? There's a moment when if you're not down the face or like it kind of wavers, right? It has to get up to speed in order to get grip, right?
Okay.
Whereas three fins, that fin in the middle, off the tail, like it points you, right? It gives you a pointing direction, like when you're dropping in late or it's edging out and stuff like that. It's gonna give you a center line. It's not gonna get like weird, right?
Okay.
Because you can get, when it's slow, you can get caught on an outer edge, or and you see guys that are wiping out and stuff like that. It's squirrely and like and the wind plays a big role in that too, like and positioning and all. There's a ton of stuff that goes into it, but that's what I found, right? But for me, I like the high end, the top end speed. So like I will, in my head, I'll look at waves. Like if I'm not up to speed paddling into it, you just kind of go, oh, whoa, it can, that a quad's going to get a little weird at first, like don't push it. Like, whereas a three fin, I can go, I can poke it, I can come underneath it and it'll let me line up. I like to be able to outrun the wave and have that speed. Cause like you want to make your waves, right? You don't want to just, get down the bottom and get mowed down. And the three fin doesn't have a top end. Like it has a top end. It just doesn't go as fast for me. Right. My experience is like, and I'm riding, I ride 3 3/4 inch fins on my boards.
Wow. On a quad or on
my quad. Like I ride toe fins on my 10-foot surfboard.
Damn.
Right. Those are like fin wise, that's very limited area.
Yeah.
Now what does that do? Limited fin, like your fin area is bigger, you're going to have a top end. It's going to give you you can't go as fast. Whereas small fins, you're flying.
But it might give you that little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of I mean, and again, when you're going, the faster you go, the more control you end up getting.
Yeah.
Because you don't need as much fin. It's just like a fighter jet. You look at a fighter jet, when you're going Mach 5, Mach 1, you have little teeny wings, right? And you still have a lot of control, especially when you're going fast, which is what I want.
I think I just took my shortboard front 2 fins and stuck them in the front and found some quads in the garage and stuck them in the back and paddled out.
Right. Yeah. And ultimately,
preparation wasn't quite on point for that one.
Yeah. Well, and because how much experience do you get to do it? Right. That's the one thing about trying to refine equipment. And I will say that like guns, like I'm riding a board that was designed by Al Merrick, for Kelly Slater, like that's the gun design, right? Like it was refined obviously since then, but it's not that much different, right? I don't have concaves. Like if you look at the equipment that Kai Lenny's riding, for example, or Albie Layer, like they're riding boards with concave and like they look like gigantic short boards and like they're pushing the envelope as design, whereas mine's not. But I feel like mine's solid. like you don't see the boards that got it's like a very refined. It's almost from a brewer shape back in the day. Like it's kind of has that same vibe to it. But they work, right? Like
looks insane.
And confidence and you get from that is helpful. Like. But I also love pushing the envelope in design too. So I'm always trying to do that a little bit. When you don't get to do it as often, we need to do it quicker. Like I'm not going to get any younger.
For sure.
But I mean, hopefully you get to see it happen from the younger guys, and they're pushing. I mean, Kai's an example of just, what he does is incredible, right? Kai Lenny does, he's 1 minute he's flying across the Molokai Channel and on a foil in 2 hours or 3 hours, I don't even know. And then he's doing it at Mavs, and then he's like riding a 6.0 and just carving the face. And now he's doing switch foot at
Greenbush, just getting green, going switch stance.
Dude, yeah, and I love and blowing smoke up Kai, whatever. He deserves it. But I love that he's always refining, changing, and that's inspiration. And it's for him. He's doing it to be able to push the envelope, and he's doing it with a family too. So it's awesome. And it's paying off because he's getting better. He's getting drained going switch foot. And I've always, we always had the conversation. I pushed it a lot on the Bronco. I was like, dude, switch foot, you start doing switch airs, you're going to get recognized for doing that. So why wouldn't you do that? Yeah. I haven't seen anybody push it as far as performance shortboarding switch foot.
For sure.
And all of a sudden your tricks can change. I mean, and the closest we have is Italo, Gabe, Felipe, but you would say that those two guys, Gabe and Italo are by far the two that surf probably switch foot the best. Yeah. Of tour guys, right? Yeah. I don't think you think of anyone else who would be on switch. And they're so balanced in the air.
Is so good switch stance. So he's gnarly.
That's what I'm saying, because that's why he is so good in the air. It's because and Gabe too, for that matter. And even Felipe, I think Felipe is probably pretty good switch too, but he's not in that same category in my book, the way they're balanced surfers in the sense back to front foot.
Yeah. They're so 50-50 in their stance.
Thank you. That's the word. Yeah. 50-50 on it. Right. And that's helped him. And again, you think of Italo, he's the guy that could probably do do airs and do something switch. And you have to recognize that, the judges will, it may take him a moment, to figure it out, but if someone's regular, if you're doing switch, it's like skate, right? You're doing something switch skate.
Yeah. It's harder, right?
It's way harder. And, but the judges will recognize that because they know. And I've got my opinions on all the judging and everything too.
Are you still doing commentating much?
No.
None.
Yeah,
Zero.
None.
How long has it been since you stopped?
I started in 2000. I actually started way before that, but for the WSL it was 2014 when they started, right? I was doing it for forever. And I ended up it's hard traveling all that time and everything, right? Yeah. And there was a little, it was hard to communicate. There was a lot of things that happened. There was new blood. I put myself in a position, what I liked doing was the color kind of commentary, which, everyone's got their roles in the commentary crew. You got water guy, right? Which is Strider, and occasionally Kaipo or whoever. You got, the play-by-play, which is Joe and Kaipo, and I took the analyzation role, as a,
I thought you were super good at it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I really enjoyed your commentating.
And I think I brought something different to the table than you normally have now.
For sure.
Right. Just things changed. Right. And, the traveling was hard, and getting a schedule was hard. And, every event has a different budget, and I'm sure there's a lot of factors that went into the change that I made, and I wouldn't change it for anything, to be honest, because it gave me a focus somewhere else, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Good.
Yeah. I miss that though. You miss what you're doing, competing. I miss that a little bit. I have little times where I'm I could analyze that.
Yeah.
I have an opinion about that.
Totally. I know, which I guess I always wonder, it's I think watching it, I always appreciate an opinion, even if you disagree with it on there, it's I appreciate when someone says something's good or bad. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes surfing on commentating is missing that a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
because I don't like when someone's that was a great turn, and the guy bogged rail. it would happen to me. So I freaking dude, that turn sucked. Come on, tell me my turn sucked.
You don't want to hurt the feelings of these surfers. They get a little bit. People they get sensitive.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think
that wasn't the main reason why. But anytime you have a league, right, the World Surf League, that's the broadcast crew is working for the company. You're gonna have to have. It's just by the nature of it.
Yeah.
Although you can, you've got to. create the athletes got to be less sensitive, and like, if so we can. And there's been opinions over the years, like there's been commentary that and rub people out. They're not there as much, so it's it's pretty super positive at the moment, and no one's ruffling any of the surfers' feathers. They're always, praising in a huge way, which is, that's cool too, because they deserve it, because they're the best in the world.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a fine line between, like, I think you can analyze without ruffling the feathers,
True. I got through my 10 years without, I never got anybody coming up to me on the side. It's like, screw you. I'm sure there was some like that held a little grudge here and there, but never came and approached me on it. So I must have not pissed them off that bad, but, and maybe you disagreed with my opinion. Yeah. And that's fine. Like, we should be able to have that. And I was able to carry myself through the event site and not hide from anybody. Yeah.
Well, I just think there's like an educational element to it for the viewer, where it's like, when you're watching and a score drops, and it's like someone can go like, oh, well, that wasn't a good score because I felt he didn't do that turn, and then he kind of missed that turn or whatever, where it's like, oh, that guy just ripped that way when it comes in as a 5. And then they're kind of like, oh, well, that guy said he knows what he's talking about. He said it was a good wave and it's a 5, Yeah. And like, how do you improve that situation? How do you improve that scenario? And I've thought a lot about it. Like, what could we do to make it better? As a surfer, or because the thing is too, you want the surf fan, right? So you're trying to engage the fans. Like, how do you engage the fans? Like, and I have some pretty opinionated views on how I think we could change it and make it better. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the judging crew would like my way of thinking about it, because I'd be taking away their jobs, but like, get rid of the judges. Yeah. And not get rid of them, bring them into the broadcast. Have it be more like an open.
Yeah. Well, and you separate them. Yeah. You have the groups that are there. This is my idea, so don't steal it, anyone. But
you sure you want to give up your idea?
Whatever, dude. At this point, I've told enough people or whatever. Like, and no one's done it yet. Yeah. But Darc Sport. That's what I'm saying. Like, I have these ideas, so we're in the way of getting some stuff done that's going to be pretty rad. And this is kind of similar to the idea, but like, this isn't a new idea, right? Natural selection kind of does something like that, right? So it's like, you just have the broadcast be a part of it. You have the judges that are respected within the industry. It's ex-surfers, whatever. Like, it could be you, it could be, and you could sit and watch it at home. Like, but your job to be a judge for that heat, you can watch it on the broadcast, and then you can give your opinion, and we go right to that. Like, all of a sudden you're going to have none of this head judge going over them going, you got a 4-5 over here. Why? Like,
are you sure?
Like, are you sure? Because I was a pretty good turn. Like, and I know it's not that way up there. I've spent enough time in the judging area that they're doing their best job.
Yeah, no, they are. They're doing the best job. A hard job. It really is.
And, so the head judge is but just that model for me, it just doesn't work, right? You can't, I've been on a panel, an advisory board where you have consensus, and that's what it feels like. It feels like it's a consensus thing, which is a way to do it. Right? Yeah. We get a job, we get a number, we get competition, we need numbers to follow. Like, those are things you have to have. So that's why I was saying, like, you have to have a score. Because that creates the drama and the excitement, and like, he needs this, and like, that builds that up, and that's what sport is, right? We want to build that momentum. Like, if you just waited till the end of the heat, like, I think he wins, and like, I'm going to give green one. Like, no, we need to build the drama, right? And so that's part of it. So anyway, my thought is, like, you have 5 or 6 judges that are there, 5 judges. They have a similar panel, but they put in their scores. So Potts puts in a 5, Aki puts in an 8, like, and then we go to them. Aki, tell me why you gave that thing an 8. Like, we were comparing it to here, and you have somebody who's, a commentary group that's talking to those people, and they get to tell their score and say why and be opinionated. You have Barton on the panel or whatever. Totally. And you literally have these judges, and you have this thing where you still have the whole thing with a high and a low thrown out, like, but you have individual decisions being done by judges, not guided by a consensus crew. Mm-hmm. And if you can ask, like, if this, if I needed to see a comparison, like, I'm judging, I want to see a comparison between so and so and so and so, and we show it to you before I give my score, and then
totally
it would be rad. How rad would that be to be as a viewer to watch legends, And then there's you can't really argue with somebody if their opinion is their own and they're owning it, instead of a panel that's like, we 5 guys did it. We're all God, like, it could be. really, really cool show.
That'd be cool. No, it'd be exciting. Even if you did it right now, like with the judges who are there and just were like, hey, like,
oh no, I mean, you can, that was the level of it was like, I just thought of like, for the broadcast point of view, like just, it would be sick to have the characters of our sport
for
involved,
sure.
right? But even having the judges there, at least separating them, having them, in their own individual thing, like the whole group thing to me just doesn't feel right. And like, and I always and that was one of the things I tried to push on the WSL, and I think it's there now and I think I told you this stuff, is I want cameras on them, right? I want cameras and audio in the booth so that I can hear what's being said during my heat and like review that as an athlete to understand why it was made or what was
discussion
said.
of like, oh, that wasn't as good as Italo's wave, or whatever. Yeah.
And what was said, like those little things, and like trying to be in the average, like, the way, just so your viewers at home, we can tell you how it works, is that there's a computer scoring and they put in a score. So an average sits there on the screen before it actually gets produced. Right. And then it's like, that they know what the averages are. So all of a sudden you can hear, oh, we have a 6.87 and you're at a 4.5. You can kind of make a move in your judge to kind of get yourself closer to the score. If you hear, like, maybe you missed it, but like that to me doesn't make sense. Like, if
you think it was a 4.5,
and like you value that person's opinion. And if it's a low number, it gets scratched. But like knowing that before it actually gets posted doesn't, And I think there's the argument on the other side of it is that you want to see that the judges are getting it right, and like there's this like easy method of every judge is like, these 5 opinions, they're all kind of similar, so it sticks, But there's, you miss stuff, dude. Have you ever judged? It's hard.
No, it's hard.
100% hard, right? Yeah. Like you miss stuff.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's why there's a high and a low, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yes, yeah.
And then I always push to see that the judges got ranked, right? And that was something that's not totally my idea, but like, I think people have pushed that one. It's like, hey, you're average, you change your score, or your average is out of whack.
You're always the high guy, you're always the low guy.
Or whatever. I mean, I'd rather have someone consistently like that. It's the ones that are flippy floppy that you don't really want on the panel.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. So you get, the judges' rankings, like you're kicked off, you're down doing the QS now, you make less money, and then you give it an opportunity to the QS guys are coming off the challenger to, you've been the best judge. Like all of a sudden you can move up a ranking system that way. And you can even do that with that broadcast idea too. Yeah. Right. Like you can, and all of a sudden you have judges rankings. Like, oh, dude, Aki's been blowing it this week. So,
Aki, oh no,
and he has to get demoted. It's the future of stuff, and just refining it and making it better.
Yeah,
more fun.
I guess making it part of whatever. We're all watching it for entertainment purposes, right? So if there is a way,
there's going to be success if it's entertaining.
Pull back the veil a little bit and like give some more insight into it, and like make it part of the entertainment. Could be entertaining.
Yeah, no, I mean, how could you? I mean, we've got Mason Ho on as a judge, right? Like, those are the characters. Those are the people that bring surfing to life, right? I mean, that's why he's so successful, and he's developed his own brand. And his heritage with the hose, like they can tell the story, like through, Darc and then all of a sudden the Aikau story comes into play, like that whole family dynamic. Like there's a lot you can learn from these families
for sure.
And if you tell those stories, which I think is missing in the broadcast right now.
Yeah.
I think there's some of that missing.
Totally. Well, yeah. And like just that, that you don't necessarily just get inspired from someone ripping on the tour. It's like, I get inspired by Pete Mel surfing Mavs when he's 55, know, like
thanks. Yeah.
And Margot and Mike Ho, it's like, I think there's
backdoor getting spit out of barrels at 65.
Dude, absolutely.
Oh, dude, please let me get spit out of a barrel at 65.
Yeah. And there's,
there's
the
best
like
way of my life at 65,
the performance element, but then there's like the whole part of us as surfers that are just like, dude, we just love surfing. And we want to surf for as long as we possibly can.
And any way we can figure that out, we do. And that's my dad. That's 100% why my family has made me who I am, is because it's exactly what my dad did. I mean, thank you, Dad and Mom. They literally moved because of the surf. Like I am in Santa Cruz because of the surf. He grew up in Southern California, Torrance, another great area for surf, actually. I mean, California was, the South Bay in that era was where it was at.
Yeah, it was hot. Huh?
Yeah, it was hot, dude. I mean, all the guys were going from there, going surfing Waimea. Like, so that's where my dad started. He went to Hawaii, and in 69, he literally was shaping boards. That was what it was. My mom was selling Avon in Mokulea. They were living in Mokulea. My dad was making boards in the house, and my mom was selling Avon door to door.
Crazy.
A Howley woman selling Avon in Mokulea. She didn't last very long. And then we ended up in Santa Cruz. Like, basically, I was like, okay, that's my mom and dad in the 60s. They're raising a child. Like, they got pregnant, right, when they were there. And they're like, yeah, we probably don't want to. Yeah, it'd be a different story if I was raised on the North Shore.
Yeah.
I don't know. But ended up in Santa Cruz. And that was because they had done a road trip at one point in their early relationship, and went through Santa Cruz and loved it. And so they just decided, let's move to Santa Cruz. Got a little house and moved there, and started Freeline Surf Shop right there at 69. And it's still there to this day. And I get to run it. So that, like, again, part of the story, the hose. Anyway, so that's sorry, Finley. Sorry. That's such a cute little gurgle.
Dude, it gets vicious sometimes.
Really? No, it's okay. Everyone's cool.
Miguel, don't come over here by Pete. This is my buddy.
That's so funny.
He's protecting you. Finley.
You've been so good.
I know.
Are you getting squished again? Sorry.
No, he's just protecting his guy over there.
That's so cute. I love you, Finley. Good job.
He gets protective quick of the people he likes.
Best buddies.
Yeah.
I love dogs.
Dude,
I don't own a dog, but I guess I'm a pretty good babysitter, doggy sitter.
Yeah. You don't have a dog?
No.
Oh, really? I just figured you were a dog whisperer over
here. It's funny. No, I never had a dog. Maybe that's why they're like, oh, you're not tainted like dog owner guy. You're like, you kind of like every. So funny. I love you, Finley. You're killing it.
Dude, he's a good guy. He's like, just wants a buddy.
Yeah. And like my son's got a dog, right? Okay, he got one, which is Killer, Moxie. I was telling you about Moxie. Yeah. And like, I love that dog. And the dog loves me too. So it's pretty rad.
So sick. So what's next, Pete? What do you got going on for the next little bit?
I was talking about the Darc Sport thing. We're working on a project there.
Top secret?
It's not top secret. Like, I think what the way to go about it though is follow it. Go to Darc Sport Athletics on the Instagram. We're going to do some cool things, and it's pretty darn core, and like they're psyched on it, and they're a company that's doing really well, and glad to be a part of it out of just, like they have confidence in what we do as a family, and their message is rad. And like, I literally, it's funny as I started wearing this stuff, it's pretty wild, right? Stuff's like, you think about what this kind of wear, like it's pretty young clothing, right? I rock this stuff, and people stop and talk to me and ask me about it. I've worn surf clothing my whole life, like Quicksilver, and like team gear, like Beach Town. Like Beach Town was the only thing that's even close to, do you remember Beach Town?
No, no Beach Town.
I just aged myself. But Beach Town was a clothing company that we rode for, but it was pretty wild clothing back in the day. It was 80s, right? That's what it was. So we get it. It was 80s. But like now,
all the clothing in the 80s was pretty hideous.
No, dude, it was gnarly. Yeah, we were wearing knickers. I don't know what. I had bolts and blue pants. Yeah, it was gnarly. Anyway, the stuff I'm wearing now though, dope. Like I literally get stopped in the airports. I get stopped and people, like, oh, whoa, what's that?
What is that?
Yeah, and it's literally every day. So I know it's cool and it's working. And all of a sudden now I'm like, hey, I wear the stuff around and I feels good.
Nice.
So something's happening within that company that's positive, which is cool. Good. In an era that's not easy.
Yeah.
They have a different model that they run, and like I was just hanging out at the company, like they do things a little differently there, and it obviously works because stuff that's getting the creative stuff that come out there, they do a lot of collaboration stuff that they've killed it on. So they're just, doing some neat stuff. Their marketing is insane. So it's challenged me. I mean, cause I worked in marketing. There was an area in my life from, 2010 to 2014 where I was doing 9 to 5 at Quicksilver. Mm-hmm. I was a marketing director. If you think about where I was in 2006 at that time to then getting a job at 2000, it was basically 2009. And then I worked till 2013 at Quicksilver. But like, I was in a rough area before that. Craig Stevenson, you remember Pin?
Yeah.
So Pin gave me the job at Quicksilver. And like, he knew my story, right? He knew where I was coming from. I went to rehab. I was like, I was a drug addict, or I still am, and he instilled this, like gave me an opportunity, like, put me, in control of a brand. It was a Quicksilver edition that ended up being Quicksilver Waterman. And like, I ran that thing as a rookie. I just was like pro surfer / here you go, dude. Like basically, and I was marketing to myself, which was kind of cool because that's basically what the job was. It's like, here, I'm an older surfer. So and the big wave thing was easy. And like, I had so much fun there. And I think I did a good job. I was tasked with turning a $15 million a year kind of a piece of the thing to, like, in 5 years, they wanted to make it 50 million. So I had this 5-year plan they gave us. Yeah. Like, here, you get this 5-year plan. Like, we want you to grow this 15 million to 50 million, see how you can do it. And that's a pretty gnarly goal. And we achieved it. Like, I got to work with some great people and learn a lot. Like, I worked with the product line and developing the stuff, and Guy Stagman, he's a part of that, still making clothes to this day. Kent Stevens, who ran the sales part of it. Like, us three got to work together and build something. And like, I learned so much. I went to college, got paid to go to college at Quicksilver. It was dope. And as most corporations go through changes, and they made some decisions, and I ended up kind of like veering. I mean, I remember actually working at Quick. Like, they had no budget. I was just I had a desk, and I was sitting there, and I knew that the end was coming. Like, it was pretty crazy. It was like, because they were just changing everything. And I'm like, and I was still there, but I knew it was ending. And then luckily, that's like, literally, it was like, I walked right into the WSL job right after that. Like, they literally, like, we're going to let your division go. Like, I was already gone 6 months before that, but I ended up moving on, and I just transitioned into that. And that was another era and chapter that was, sick, but that was like what happened there. And then, fast forward to today. And Finley is in my lap. And I'm smiling.
He's so funny. You're classic, Finley.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming through and talking story for all.
Yeah. No worries.
I'm sure we could go for another day.
Yeah, we could. But I know you got another guest coming. So,
oh, dude.
Yeah.
No way. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah. No
worries.
dude. I got to get
so
home
fun.
too.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.